very, very good spot to start. Now, Kodak Black was pretty much involved in a prison fight that left one guard hospitalized at the Federal Detention Center in Miami. Now, according to Miami's local ABC affiliate, they're saying that the fight began between two inmates. They're saying that pretty much the officer came to try to break up the fight. Kodak Black, kicked him in his groin while he was trying to break up the altercation. Now they're saying that the guard was taken to the hospital and underwent surgery. They're saying his condition is unknown. Now Kodak Black now is sitting in prison and is still facing, up to 30 years on federal gun charges. Also the other things, that he's been charged with, the sexual assault case. He's looking at that. And this is one more thing that you put your hands, on a federal employee, a federal officer, it's just going to be more. So he's looking at new charges with this as well, saying, man, his nigga ain't coming home.
He ain't coming home at all. Oh God, I'm not condoning any of this at all, because his decision and his act can kind of put the stamp on he ain't coming home, right? But is there any way possible that this was it wasn't meant to be for, the kick wasn't meant for the guard, it was kind of an accidental kick, you know what I'm saying? Something like that, to where he was in the scruffle and didn't know it was the guard and kind of kicked and get off me. It doesn't matter.
If you got a lawyer, that's something his lawyer can argue. I wasn't there, you weren't there. I know you like Kodak Black, so you're always kind of trying to defend him there, but
it seemed like that.
Yeah, it
seemed like that. But I'm just asking a question.
Nah, but obviously he may be able to argue that, but this, along with, probably was on tape. This, along with all the other stuff he's in there for right now, it's just not looking good. I don't think that, we'll see this guy within the next at least 5 to 10 years at this point. And I don't wish it on him. I wish he would come out, but it seems like he's like a runaway stray, like just running into things, knocking everything over until like he has rabies. He has to be stopped. He has to be, contained, because things keep happening. Now, mind you, I'm not condemning him or anything, because you in jail, you got to scrap. The guard get up in there, he tried to do something, you fuck him up too. What it is. This is what happens, obviously, in prison. And when you in there, you ain't thinking about none of that shit like that, obviously. So, he's gonna have to deal with this, though. It's not looking good for him.
Nah, it's not looking good for him, and this may be the best thing for him. You said that he's running into everything. He's a stray. He got rabies, and the one thing you do with rabies, you kill it. And
damn.
The thing about him right now is, if he didn't slow down, the end result might have been something terrible, and we might be talking something different about Kodak Black, and nobody wanted to see that. You say I defend him a lot, and it's funny because as I'm saying, I'm like, damn, it does seem like I'm trying to defend him, and I'm not. I'm just trying to give different perspective. But I do give a kid kind of a pass at times, even though he does not deserve it and didn't deserve it. I still kind of looked at him as a kid that was 21, 20 years old. We don't know what kind of guidance he has, talented, living his life in front of camera. Mm-hmm. And like you said, just a wild bull. Yeah. And just being wild, where was his guidance at was my question. I know he had a lot of people trying, but he wasn't real receptive to it. And now he finds himself in a situation where they're going to have him sitting down for a while. And maybe when he comes out as a grown man at the time, he'll kind of see the error of his ways as sitting down, because even if it was advertent or not in him kicking the guard or whatever, he still got in the fight. Like you said, if you got to do what you got to do, you got to do what you got to do. But to find yourself in these negative situations where you could potentially put more time on your time, is just like, damn, you might have to sit down for a little bit.
It's like this, Sam, man. And I'm gonna disagree a little bit with you as far as him maybe needing to slow him down and put him in jail. But it's like, you could be running from a cop and the cop tries to corral you, grab you, he gets hurt, you get that charge. You know what I mean? So anything could have happened in that situation, but you got to think, he's facing up to 30 years for that whole sexual assault thing. He's facing up to 10 on that thing where he pretty much lied on a little gun application. So that right there, he still got to beat that. This is a whole nother thing, assault, on a police officer, whatever the hell they call him, correctional officer. That's probably like another, 10. And then while you in there, so it's just like, the sexual assault thing, obviously, if that's true, he needs to sit. But lying on a gun application, this is the part where I say I kind of disagree. Lying on the gun application, or kicking some guard in his groin or whatever happened with that situation, I don't think he needs to, spend 10 years, for that. But I do agree with your point. Like, he's running wild, and if you don't stop, it's only a few things that's going to happen. We understand that. Either you're going to end up killing somebody, being killed, being locked up. Right now, it's the latter.
Yeah, and I don't condone him being sitting down for 10 years either, but I do feel like him slowing down, and if that happens to be him sitting down for whatever the time they give him, might be the thing that in fact saves his life initially, because now as a young man, he ain't the guidance he ain't seeing, and he's out here bumping into shit like you were saying, and eventually somebody gonna slow him down, or he's gonna slow down himself and do either more time than he's set for now, or God forbid something worse. So if he in fact does have to sit behind bars, hopefully that stopping him and slowing him down for a while does good and essentially saves his life.
What does it say to his career? Do you think his career now is over now that he's facing all this time in prison?
It's hard to say, but maybe.
Right.
You don't know where music is going to go. You know what I mean? You don't. I've seen rappers like, all right, Sean, for example. When Sean got locked up, he was the hottest thing cooking. You know what I mean? People couldn't wait for Sean to come back out. Sean did a lot of time, and when he came back out, nobody was looking for Sean anymore. And that wasn't a discredit to Sean, but he did time, and times changed, and it was what it was. You get certain rappers where they could go behind bars and come back if they made certain impacts, but he's in this wave right now where if that wave goes by, that demographic may have evolved and moved on, or you never know. So it's hard to say. I don't know.
Yeah. And, once again, just kind of just reporting on that. But unfortunate because, he is due to be sentenced, November the 13th on one of those cases. And, it's just going to be piling up, for Kodak Black from here. Right before your sentencing date now, you get into this altercation. But again, it's early, so maybe something comes back. Maybe it was the other inmate who did it, so a lot of things could go down here. But we'll definitely keep you updated, when that does.
Indeed.
Yes, sir. But you're tuned into the Hip Hop Uncensored podcast with your brother, Old God, and Sandman. We're going in. Now, speaking of an update, the game was on stage, Sandman, and we reported, I'll say about a week and a half ago here on the Hip Hop Uncensored podcast, that the game pretty much was fighting that $7 million lawsuit. But the judge, went against him and said, no, you got to pay this $7 million default judgment. The game jumped on stage and addressed that. I actually want to play what he said, Sandman, and then get your thoughts, on this.
Everybody got something to say. I've been in the game my whole career. I ain't deterred, nigga. I'm me. I've been shot at, stabbed, fought, niggas suing me, nigga. Today I read on the internet, nigga, they said I lost 7 million. Shit, what do I do now? Is Popeyes hiring? 7 million, he must be broke. Come on, this motherfucking Burberry tracksuit like that. Give a fuck about that. Fuck a bitch. This sword. Hey, I fuck with y'all, man. Y'all gotta stop believing what y'all see on the internet. Just call me. Ask me. I'm gonna tell you if I'm broke. I'm gonna say, hey, yo, mommy, can you hook me up with some corns and mommies? I'm on my last leg.
So that's the game there, boasting on stage, to say the least, talking about, that lawsuit. And he's saying, don't believe what you read on the internet, but this is not what we're reading on the internet. This is court documents, that's saying that you owe this money. But what's your thought?
He wasn't talking about us.
I know that. I'm just saying.
Somebody that was saying that he's already lost the $7 million.
Right.
No,
right.
He's lost it in the judgment. Yeah. He has to pay up according to judgment. We've been talking about this for some time now, and how real this is going to get for the game. And I think his appeals were denied. They want him to cough up. I think all attempts on him not having to pay up were denied. He has to pay up. And he found himself in a situation where he was giving the crowd good energy. He was giving the crowd good material, but he might have slipped up a little bit and running his mouth about homegirl while he owes some money to the government, because he wasn't only kind of shitting on homegirl, he was shitting on the government on camera. I don't know. But
the thing is, though, Sandman, if you remember early on, they were trying, to give him jail time. We talked about that.
Yeah, that's crazy.
You know what I mean? Have him sit in jail, and then he kind of fought. That kind of went away. So it just wouldn't be smart, for him to piss off the judge, in that case. Say, you know what? This dude's online now, because they're going to see it. They're going to hear about it.
Hell yeah.
You know what? I'm going to remand you to jail until we get this money. Maybe, I don't agree with it. Not saying I agree with it, but, it has been done before. People are in jail and go to jail for debts that they owe. Look at child support. So it's just like, hey, Maybe Game knows something we don't know, but I will stand on this firm. I never believed the story from the beginning. I don't think that it went down like that. And if it didn't go down like that, if the Game really didn't do it, I support him in saying I ain't paying her shit.
Okay, let me ask you a question before I can say what I want to say. Did she initially go for like sexual assault against him and look for jail time, and she didn't get it, and now this is a civil suit for $7 million, or she just went in and sued him for $7